Being a female entrepreneur and overcoming some of the different obstacles or challenges that may be in your way, imposter syndrome, access to capital, just really understanding financials, etc., no matter what it may be, can be and feel quite daunting to achieving your success. And when you look at the statistics and the numbers, it can actually be quite disheartening, which is why I'm so excited for today's episode of the Straight Talk About Sales podcast. Hi, I'm Dr. Nadia Brown, founder of the Doyen Agency and creator of Straight Talk About Sales. And I am super excited for today's guest, Dr. LaNée Javet. Throughout her 10-year career, Dr. LaNée has worked to uplift the Black community from co-sire an online hub for African American culture and exchange that garnered over 7 million page views across 214 countries and territories within 7 months, raising $10,000 in crowdfunding, to the Mogul Institute, a learning initiative that has catapulted hundreds of Black founders to the top of their industry. Dr. LaNée's dream is to see Black-owned businesses operate, perform, compete, and lead at a higher level. Through her work, she arms Black entrepreneurs with the strategies and guidance they need to operate competitively at every level, effectively shortening their path to economic success. With her latest business, Upscale Noir, Dr. LaNée has created the premier lifestyle, education, and empowerment movement for people of color around the world, amassing a following of more than 75,000 across all social media platforms. Throughout Upscale Noir, Dr. LaNée curates a space for Black entrepreneurs to flourish. In addition to this, she develops high-performing strategies for entrepreneurs to create, brand, monetize, and launch profitable upscale businesses, products, and services, an initiative achieved through the use of coaching, strategy sessions, online digital products, classes, and the Diamond Collective, where she teaches the 4C Diamond method for clarity, confidence, clients, and coins. Now, you know, we had to dive into that. Dr. LaNée is a prolific speaker, having presented to major businesses, including PayPal, NASCAR, and Galvanize. And she is the author of the book, Stripping to the Core, A Forward Look Back. She recently received her PhD in performance psychology from Grand Canyon University, graduating magna cum laude, and holds an MBA from the University of Phoenix. Trust me, this is an episode you don't want to miss. Tune in. Welcome to another episode of Straight Talk About Sales. I am so excited for today's guest, Dr. LaNée Javet, founder of Upscale Noir. Welcome, Dr. LaNée.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Oh my goodness, I'm excited too. I have a lot of questions. And one of the things I want to start, because reading your bio and just kind of watching you on social, I know you've been through some transitions. Oh, but wait, before we get to that, let me just have it recorded to say congratulations, Dr. LaNée.
Thank you, Dr. Nadia, for welcoming me into the doctor circle.
Right?
It feels good to be here.
Yes, I know that journey. Ooh, that's a whole nother podcast episode about that journey.
Man.
Yes.
Man.
So excited for you. And so let's dive into your entrepreneurial journey. Like, what has led to the work that you're doing now?
That's such a good question. It's so layered. I will tell you that I accidentally found my way to entrepreneurship. When I had my son, I had him in 2000, and in 2001, I was sitting down. He would just turn 1, and I was like, how can I impact the world? What can I do to make his life better? And so I wrote out this list on, more positivity and make sure that he's well traveled and make sure that he knows and understands certain things about himself and Blackness and who he is. And in 2000, President Obama was the president. There was a lot of racial tension because we had a Black president. And so I just wrote down all these different things that I thought that he needed to have and to know in order to be a well functioning and established young man. And I sent it to myself in Yahoo in 2000. And I didn't do anything with it for a mighty long time. And about 2010, I pulled it back out. And I was like, okay, what's really going on? Now Obama, I think he's in his second term. And it's really crazy in the world. And so I was like, you know what I'm doing or what I would like to do for my son really needs to be done for the whole world, like for the whole Black community, the whole Black experience. We're all going through these different things. There needs to be some positivity. And so I was like, I'm going to change this thing that I'm trying to do for my son and do it for the community. And I created my first business, which is called Cosire. And it was a play on the words culture and desire. And the meaning behind it, or the idea behind it, I should say, was that our culture as Black people, men, women, family, and the desires of our ancestors have not changed. We're still looking for freedom. We're still looking for liberation. We still want our children to be able to grow up and not be manhandled on the streets by police or just regular people. We still want to make sure that we're safe. Nothing has changed. Our culture desires from then to now are the same, and we need to have more positive energy. So that was how I created my first business called Sire, and it took off. We had over 3 million page views from 1 million people in less than 7 months. We had 60,000 followers. I'm moving all over the country, teaching and speaking and talking, and social media is doing good. And before I knew it, people started asking me, hey, what did you do? How'd you get that many followers? How are you in 214 territories and countries? How did you raise $10,000 crowdfunding? How did you do this? And before I knew it, I started coaching on business more than I was running my business. And so that's how I accidentally ended up as a business coach.
I love it. I love it. So many questions and so many lessons in that. And so one of the things that I definitely want you to just touch on, because I know that as a Black business owner, right, we have our own unique set of challenges and obstacles, and then add woman and Lord, it gets interesting, right? And so in your work, what are some of the things and strategies that you help your clients as they navigate this? Because while the obstacles are there, it's not impossible to achieve their desires.
Oh man. You know what? One of the things I'm transitioning into just recently, so to your point with the doctoral process, I've been a full-time entrepreneur for 10 years this year as of last month.
Congratulations.
And thank you. 5 of those years I was doing my dissertation. So the last 5 years I've been in school. So literally half of my entrepreneur journey, I've been in school. And so I'm just returning back to the front of my business 100%, like within the last 45 days, if you realistically,
right.
like there's this personality identification thing that happened. I don't know if it happened to you, but it took me a minute to merge with the whole doctor persona, and then coming out of school for 5 years and then coming back into my business. It took me a minute. And so I'm like, just feel like I'm getting back on my feet. But all of that to say, I'm more clear on what I want to do. And that is change the narrative of Black businesses and Black entrepreneurship. The stereotypes that we have that impact our business, they impact how we price our business. They impact how people do business with us. They impact what other people feel they should pay us. And that impacts our confidence in how we show up and how we present and how we sell. We have sales conversations, right? It impacts how we sell. And so my mission, it's the only mission that I have, is to repair, impact, influence, change that narrative, both for Black entrepreneurs, but also for the communities that do business with Black businesses.
That is so good, because you're so right. And the one thing that I just kept thinking, and it's something that I work with clients on, because we're talking about sales, you bring all of that to your sales conversations, and it really messes with your psyche. So what is one of the tips, just one, don't give them too much, just one tip that listeners can take away with as they're dealing with, how do I get my mind right? Because you have to be in a good space to really have those powerful sales conversations in order to show up powerfully in my business.
Oh, I got the answer. So this is it. This is it. It's going to sound silly, but I promise you this works. Sit down and write your resume.
Ooh.
Sit down and write out your experience. Sit down and write down your wins. What have you done? And then talk about money. Because what
Yes.
happens, or what I find that happens is, especially when we're talking about sales and pricing, is people will use what has happened to them in the last 6 to 12 months as their barometer of what they should charge, what they should make, what their experience level is, instead of, oh, well, I did this, I made this much money for this company, or I showed somebody how to do this 10 years ago. That matters.
It does.
That counts. Like that goes towards your experience. When you slide somebody an invoice, you're talking about the sales, or you're going to pitch them, you got to use your whole Rolodex from whatever you did the first time you did something good to today, and use that when you go to do your pitch, when you go to do your sale, when you go to create your pricing. If I could tell you like anything, that's the one thing I would say. It gets your confidence up, and it reminds you who you are.
Right. That is so good, because unlike you, when I completed my doctoral program and did my dissertation, I was actually still in corporate. So I left after I had gotten my doctorate. And similar, because my husband told everybody I was a doctor. I was just tired. I was like, I'm done. And he was like, my wife is a doctor. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm a doctor. And so, but I remember making that transition. I was like, oh wait, I think I need to go get some more certifications. Because again, I had just kind of left, like I'm leaving corporate, all of that is no more. And now I'm just focusing on this new thing. And, you know, my doctorate it's all good, but, right? So we always had that, but. I've since gotten over it, but I can definitely, you know, I remember being there and just like, who am I, right? Who am I to charge this when I'm doing something different, which wasn't necessarily different. It was just basically under a different umbrella. I was doing the same things I did in corporate and got paid well for. But in my mind, I kept telling myself that it was different.
You know what? You made a good point. That who am I question. If more people ask themselves that question and prayed, I hope I can talk about this before they answered it, they would have a completely different view and idea of who they are and how they're supposed to show up in the world.
So good. Yes.
You know what I mean? Because we will let what we think, what society thinks, what our boss said, what the corporate people paid us, try to dictate and tell us who we are instead of the assignment that we've been given.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And if you let your assignment tell you who you are, you'll be okay with sliding that invoice across and be like, this is what you owe me.
Right. Period. and that's discounted.
You can't even afford what I'm really worth. I'm gonna go ahead and take $1 million off.
Right.
And then you only got to pay that couple thousand.
Right. You're welcome. Oh yeah, you would show up to your sales calls completely different. Oh, that's good. Yeah, just add $1 million and then add the discount, and there you go. Right?
That's it. Show up, people can be like, "Excuse me,
excuse me. Do you know the value that I just gave you?" That is really good. That is really good. So one of the things, because you know, and I'm sure you're seeing that too, is that a shrinking, if you will. But one of the things, so I mostly work with women, but you work with both men and women. Do you see some differences in how men may show up and how that affects them versus how women show up?
Oh, you coming with the good questions. Okay. I never even thought about that. I would say, yes, there is a difference. Oh, I feel bad even saying it, but I'm gonna tell the truth. Shame the devil.
Please do.
We as women, we show up with more imposter syndrome. And I hate that terminology, but we show up with a lack of knowing who we are. We don't beat on our chest the same way that men do. Girl, men will come out here with their stuff halfway together. Maybe they got a sales page, maybe they don't, but they're gonna come out here and sell you something off the back of their car, and they're gonna be cool with it. Girl, don't worry about it. It's gonna work. You know, they don't know if it's gonna work or not, but they show up to sell, right? They show up to make their money. They have a different type of a hustle than we do as women. As women, we show up and we're going to sell, but we want the pretty landing page. We want the wording to be, and I'm not saying that your stuff shouldn't be nice and together, but we got to be more like Apple. Apple says, let me go ahead and sell you the cell phone, and then you tell me if it works. And then if it doesn't work, we're going to fix it. And then we'll put it out again. And when after we sell this phone next year, we're going to put another model out, and we're going to fix all the stuff that you said you didn't like about it this year, next year. And then when that one doesn't work, we're going to do it again, fix it for you the next year. We don't operate like that as women. As women, we want it to be perfect. We want it to be nice. We want to operate in excellence. If it doesn't work, and we lose money trying to get it perfect to make money.
Yep. Oh my gosh. You know what? That brought up a great example. So during my journey, I had the opportunity to work with a business, a team, and the founders were men, both men. And that was kind of where I was able to cut my teeth on sales and really get my sales skills. And I started to pay attention to certain things. But one of the things, and I will never forget this, because this is when I had to have the come to Jesus conversations with myself, like, Nadia, girl, you tripping, is one of them called me up one day and was like, hey, Nadia, so, founder number one over here had this great idea this morning, and we're going to take this offer and make it a group. And we're going to sell it for 5,000, and we're going to do what? And I was like, okay, that sounds great. But to your point, what really 100% what the heck we were selling? Because I'm like, what are we taking out of this and putting into this? No landing page whatsoever. Dr. LaNée, the venue hadn't even been booked. It was just a whole hot mess. But here's the thing, though. I was able to take the little bit they gave me and go out and sell just fine without all the pretty shiny stuff. And then later, once they made six figures and, we got several people enrolled, it was like, oh, shoot, I guess I better go book that place, right? Oh, shoot, I guess we better, now that they knew for sure they had a good thing going. But I would find that in my business, to your point, I would be like, nope, this has to be pretty. This has to be perfect. The workbook needs to be done. I need the double spell check. We can't have no, periods out of place, no commas. Like, it has to be all together. And I had those moments of like, Nadia, if you don't get out there and start talking to people about this idea and making some money and stop making excuses, because you're right, men they come up with an idea, they put it out there, proof of concept. If they get it wrong, oh well, they may or may not even apologize about it and move on.
Not may or may not apologize, but to your point, we'll do that. We'll create this whole thing, websites, spreadsheets, landing pages, ticketing, venue, and then nobody want it. You can't even sell it. Like, why not sell and then create?
Yep. And a lot of times when I mention that to women, I'm
it
like,
doesn't make
sell
sense
it first. And they're like, oh, I couldn't do that.
But there's nothing, but I haven't created
that's
it yet.
Blasphemy. And I'm like, no. But you don't want you don't want to spend all this time, energy, effort, and money and resources in building something that no one wants. That whole concept of build it and they will come is not necessarily true.
I have a client. It's not really a client. I have an old client that returned and was like, hey, I have this event that I'm about to do. Will you help me with that? And I was like, yeah, cool. Let's take a look at it. And I'm looking at it. And I'm like, I don't think that's going to work. I don't think that's going to make sense. They wanted to do an in-person event and with this many people. And I was like, $17,000 for the venue. I was like, have you done this event before? No. I was like, well, let's scale it back. Let's do something different. So we turned it into something that was online. So we scaled it back. We turned it into something that was online, which of course reduced the price. Not going someplace, going online, the price is reduced by thousands of dollars. Started promoting it, started selling it. Crickets.
You just
crickets.
Save them so much money.
Okay. And so sometimes you got to get out here and hustle. Like see what the people want. Like, and is what I'm offering making sense? Does anybody want it? Too often as entrepreneurs, we try to sell people what we like.
Yep.
What we think is good.
Think is great.
This is what I want for you. This is what I think you should have. And then we go and we do all this work and then we're like, nobody wants it. Well, it's not that they want it. It's how you put it together. You didn't pitch it right. You didn't find out even what they needed. Is the pain point right? Is the price point right? We don't take the time to research our audience so that we can have better sales conversations relative to what they want and what they need.
Yep. I was just going to say, definitely having conversations. And I encourage conversations because you get such real-time feedback. You can hear when people pause, or if you're on a Zoom, you can see the look of confusion come over their face. And then a lot of times, depending on the relationship, you can ask, like, well, what about that wasn't clear just for my benefit? But you don't get that if you just throw up a landing page. You don't know why people didn't buy. And then we make up our own stories, which a lot of times aren't even true.
Yep. Yep.
Oh my goodness. So good. So I want to transition a little bit because you have this new methodology. Well, maybe it's probably not new, but it's new.
No, it's new. It's
It's
definitely
new to
new.
Nadia. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it's new.
So I want to dig into this a little bit because I was like, oh, this is juicy. With your 4 C's, your diamond method,
Yes.
the clarity, confidence, clients, and coins. Love,
Mhm.
love, love. Let's get into it. So with this method, let's just start with clarity. Like when you're looking at sales or your business as a whole, how important is clarity and why is that such a foundational piece of this methodology?
Listen, I'm gonna use myself as the example. So before I got to the 4C Diamond Method, I was talking about SOS, which was the Strategic Objective Success Solution. And it sounds cool because everybody be like, "What's your secret sauce, LaNée? How do you do this?" And you got the sauce. And I was like, "Oh, I'm about to use that." Well, in order for me to use sauce, again, I got to tell you what it is: Strategic Objective Success Solution. When I came up with the Strategic Objective Success Solution, it was 9 parts. Don't nobody want to sit through 9 parts of training to be successful? I couldn't sell it. I couldn't, it was too hard to sell because I have to try to explain it to you. I got to try to tell you what it is. Then I got to sell you on 9 parts. And if you're trying to get to success, you ain't trying to wait for 9 modules, right? So I had to get clear on who I served, how I wanted to serve them. And that is how I came up with the 4C Diamond Method. I'm still taking people through my 9-part framework. I just put it in a different container and I simplified it. So not only is it clear to me, but when my client hears 4C Diamond Method, I'm gonna help you get clarity, confidence, clients, and coins. They are easily attracted to it. They hear it and they're like, oh, that's what I need. That's what I'm struggling with. And so that's how important clarity is. It's important for you, so you know who you're talking to, but it's important in the messaging that you're creating so that your client also hears that you're clear on who you serve and they can identify themselves. So that's what clarity does it did for me, but it also does for my clients.
Absolutely. I love it. Because it's funny because sometimes even with that clarity piece, as we're going through, because we've over here been transitioning a little bit and it's like, well, who do we work with, right? Getting that clarity. And then there's that internal, well, if I get too clear or too precise, then what happens? Because, we're trying to do the most. So what would you say to those who are like, but Dr. LaNée, I want to serve the people?
Listen, I'm going to tell you what I literally told my coaching group last night. We were talking about, and please tell me, I would love to get your take on this. A lot of times as entrepreneurs, we talk about target market, and your target market, your sample size, your target market is vast, right? I want this gender, this race, this education, you have all these qualifiers, right? But that's still this big of a market. Who's your client avatar? So even after you figure out who your target market is, you still have to get in really nice and crystal clear with who your client avatar is. And that's the niche piece. That's that very specific person. So sometimes people will say, to your point, can you be too clear? You can't, because you want to be able to call that one person out of the whole target market, but you want to be able to do it multiple times. You can't serve 1 billion people. You can't serve 1 million people. You can't serve 10,000 people. You can't serve 1,000. You might be able to do a nice 500. You know what I'm saying? Like realistically, if you get you a nice 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 person team, then maybe you can get into those numbers. But let's be realistic. How many people do you have the capacity to serve and live the life that you want to live with your kids and your family and take care of yourself and get the money that you want to make? Because now we're talking about what are you pricing? What happens is we underprice what we're supposed to be pricing, and then we're not selling like we're supposed to be selling, and then we get stressed out and overwhelmed. So that clarity piece it's crystal clear. And if I have a minute, I'll use an example. It's my favorite example to use: Victoria's Secrets. Victoria's Secrets has this product line. It's the pink product line. When they first came out with it, their target market was girls between the ages of 13 and 17. If you remember, when pink first came out, their fonts were collegiate block fonts, very similar to varsity fonts, which is what high school girls are thinking about before they're going to college. So that 13 to 17-year-old range. Also, if you remember, when that brand first came out, everything was neon, pink, yellow, green. They were knee-high socks, booty shorts, little tank tops. That's what girls between the ages of 13, 17 like. What
Mm-hmm.
happened? Moms start seeing their daughters in these cute little sweatsuits, these cute little socks, these cute little tank tops, and grown women started wearing the brand. If you
Mm-hmm.
look at that brand today, pink is now cursive. They've
Mm-hmm.
completely changed their target market. One, those 13 to 17-year-olds grew up,
Right. We grown now.
right? And two, grown women like it. So I
Mm-hmm.
always say that to be no, if you know who you selling to and you're clear about that, other people will be attracted to it. They
Mm-hmm.
knew that they were selling to girls 13 to 17, and grown women over 17, mothers did the buying,
Exactly.
all the young girls. And so they still made money. So yes, know your audience, be crystal clear on who they are, because other people are going to see that you are crystal clear and you know who you serve and that you're
Mm-hmm.
doing good sales with those people and you're getting good results, and they will be attracted to you too. You don't have to try to sell everybody. You try to
Mm-mm.
sell everybody, you miss the people you really want.
Yep.
Know who you're selling to, be crystal clear on that, be good at that. And other people are going to be like, hey, well, can you serve me?
Yep.
Hey, well, can you do this here? Hey, do you speak to this? Hey, da. But if you ain't doing good and serving the people that you're supposed to serve, don't nobody want to do business with you.
Nope. They're moving right along. They don't want none of that. They don't want to get in on
Mm-mm.
that. And we
If
want
you
them to want to get in.
if you can't even serve the people you're supposed to serve, I don't want you to go over here and serve my people. You know what I'm saying? Like, get your sales right where you at.
Please and thank you. So let's move on to confidence. I know we touched on this a little bit earlier, but is there anything you want to add around the confidence piece as it relates to growing this business that you desire?
Just literally what we said earlier, right? Clarity begats confidence. When you
Mhm.
confident, when you know who you're talking to, when you know what you're offering them, when you know how what you offer them serves them or addresses their pain point or provides the resolution, and you can price it appropriately, you have confidence.
Yes.
And or confidence actually comes right before the pricing. Like if you have those things, then you can confidently price it, confidently show up, and confidently pitch it, which of
Yes.
course leads to closing the sale.
Please. Please
Please
and
and
thank
thank
you.
you.
Which leads to your coins. Well, least actually leads to clients and coins because those two kind of go
They
together,
go
right?
together. Yep, they go together. In order for you to get clients, you have to, in order for you to get coins, you have to
Yes,
get
your
clients.
clients.
And you can't get clients if you don't show up confidently. You can't be confident if you don't have clarity. It goes backwards and forwards.
It
Like,
does. I love it. What are some of the biggest mistakes? So we talked a lot about what people should do, but what are some of the mistakes that you see people making as it relates to client clarity, confidence, clients, and coins?
honestly, I would say it's clarity. Like
Mm.
literally, I have to say that we have amazing entrepreneurs. People are out here doing some great things. And so we have the vision, we have the innovation, we have the desire. But actually, I take clarity back.
Okay.
What clarity, confidence, clients, and coins is strategy. We're
Oh,
missing strategy.
so
The
good.
strategy in order to bring the vision and the innovation that we have, we're
Hmm.
missing the strategy to execute on it. And that's what clarity, confidence, clients, and coins is all about. It's what is it that you want to do so that we can get clear on that.
Hmm.
Once we can get clear on that, we can confidently allow you to show up in the marketplace in price and what you offer. When you can do that, then you can market and brand yourself appropriately so that you can attract the
Yes.
appropriate clients that are going to pay you what you're
Please.
worth. You don't have to negotiate, you don't have to go back and forth with them. They see your value, and that ultimately brings your coins. So it's the strategy to bring into existence the success that we want at the level that we see it.
Oh my goodness. I love this. So another question that just came to me is, so one of the things that I often see, especially with women, and you can tell me if you see a lot more with the men, is this idea around trying to do it all on her own. So she has this vision.
Don't come for me, Dr. Nadia.
And she's trying to do all these things. What would you say to her to be like, look, we need you to get some support and ask for help and look at building a team as part of your overall strategy?
I'm trying to see what would I say to myself. Actually, I'm literally in that place. I'm not gonna tell lies. I'm not gonna tell lies. I'm literally in that place. I am in a place where I have become my own bottleneck. And I just brought 2 people onto my team on Monday. Like I'm literally there. And so what I would say to some, thank you. Like I've been like, I had to have my come to Jesus moment and say, what type of business owner do you want to be? Correct that. Do you want to be a business owner or do you want to be a CEO?
That's good.
And I know some people are like, I'm a CEO, I'm business. Yeah, there's a difference.
It
There's
is.
a difference between being the CEO who operates it here and delegates and assigns, and you get to operate on the business at a high level, as opposed to being the owner of the business who's more in the day-to-day administrative role, right? And no shade to anybody who is there. Our goal is to be CEO. Our goal is to be sitting on Tahiti's sipping a drink and the company is still running. Like that's the goal. I don't think anybody left their corporate job to become a business owner and work 4 times as hard, maybe twice, right? I understand that, but I don't want to work 4 and 5 times as hard. Can't take a vacation. Money is funny. I don't want, that's not what I became an entrepreneur.
It's not the life I want.
No, not at all. Right. And so that is like one of the that's super important, is having a team, having people that can support you, having people that can operate at the level with which you need them to. And I will say I think that one of the, correct me if I'm wrong or tell me what you think about this. A lot of times we don't build our team as quickly as we should for one of 2 reasons. Either it's money, right? If it's money, I would say go the contractor route. Like we think it's so expensive to bring on a team. Contract out, like hire out, Fiverr, Upwork, all the places, Jobs, PH, go across the pond, whatever. Like, yeah, get some help. Or we don't want to take the time to train people so that they can do the work the way we need them to do it. And so we say, I could do it better by myself, or I can do it faster. That's your girl. I'm a Virgo. I'm a high performer. I'm super driven. I operate on 100. And if I got to teach you at a 12, it slows me down. What I had to tell myself was, is it slowing you down, or can you bring that 12 up to an 80 if you would take the time to give them what they need? Now you can I can stay at that 100% if I teach somebody how to get to 80. But we have to take that time to get them to be where we need them to be. And so either it's money or it's, I can do it by myself. You can't. You can't do it by yourself.
Take it from us. You can't.
Not be great.
No, I 100% agree with you, and I've seen it both ways. And one of the things that I've seen also, and I'm sure you have too, is the deeper you get in this thing and you start making some real, money, 100K, 250, 500, a million, and you still trying to be every woman, if you survive, because you may have burnt out along the way, right? Now is harder to backtrack and prepare and bring people up to speed, and you're overwhelmed and you're probably, so I just encourage people to, if nothing else, start writing down what you do. Because you would probably be surprised the number of times people have brought us in to do sales. And I'm like, okay, so, do you have some recordings? Like, who's your ideal person? Like, how would we know this is your best fit? Like, do you have anything written down? Like, what's your process? And they're looking at me like, oh, that's what I hired you to do. But you've been making sales. Like, you didn't just start this business yesterday. Like, our job isn't to come in and recreate the wheel. It's actually to take what you built and help you to get to your next level, to help you achieve your vision. And the same is true for us in our businesses. But yeah, I recently told my team, I'm like, look, I need to work myself out of my current job.
The whole truth. Yeah. It's a grow. I don't want to say it's a growing pain. Let's say it's something that you need in order to grow so that you don't have pain. But if you don't do it, it can become a growing pain.
Oh yeah. I'm working with a client now who has built a great business. She has over 20 employees. And now we're just really getting in and getting her out of a lot of those pieces. And I talked to her yesterday and she's like, Nadia, I am so burned out and overwhelmed because there's so much backtracking and we're trying to get her out of the day to day, but we can't. And now everyone that she's bringing in to help her, everybody's coming to her asking her 80 million questions. And she's just like, I just need y'all to leave me alone. So don't do that to yourself.
We can become our own bottleneck.
Mm-hmm.
I should be so much, and I have to give myself grace because as I say this, I should be so much further along in my business. And then I have to remind myself, girl, you've been working on a doctorate for 5 years. Relax, sit down somewhere.
Right. And then you needed a break from that because that is intense.
Yes. So it's not even so much further. It's the processes and the systems and the automation. I'm running my business, but I'm still taking care of my clients. I'm running my business. I'm still taking care of clients. And I have a son. I'm running my business. I'm still taking clients. I'm managing the son. I'm trying to have some type of a life. I'm running my business. I'm managing something like, so it's a lot. Like had I had a team, had I had some people in place, it would have brought my stress level down. Mm-hmm. I might have finished my dissertation, my doctorate sooner. True. My son, like there's just all these things that we take on. Definitely my sales would have been better if I would have had a better sales process. Like everything evens out for you when you have more people to spread the responsibility over.
Absolutely. It does. I recently, I'll confess, had that realization even for myself. I was like, Nadia, you, dear, need to hire sales help. Mm-hmm. Because again, to your point, we're looking at certain goals and milestones. And I'm like, I just had that aha moment. And I know God was like, seriously, you just doing way too much, ma'am. But it was like, oh, I could probably get here a lot faster if I had somebody to help me with this.
Mm-hmm. Like, yes.
Oh, okay.
And I think, since we're having the sales conversation, one of the things, and you may or may not preach this, but when we're talking about people, well, how do I bring somebody new on? Well, let's say, hypothetically speaking, you want to pay somebody and they want to come on, they want $20,000, and you have to figure out, how do I increase my sales by $20,000, right? Everything in our business is tied to sales.
Everything.
It's not, dang, I can't afford it. It's how do I get, what can I create? Yes. What can I offer? Is there something passive? If I do $5,000 things, like it's thinking about your sales. How can I go out and sell X amount of dollars to bring on this many people?
Yep. And I would add, because we also talked about pricing, a lot of times when we're underpricing, I tell people, write down all the jobs that are involved, like all the roles and different things that happen, and start assigning dollar amounts to it. And if you weren't the one fulfilling on it, because if you brought somebody else in to do it, you would have to pay them. But a lot of times we don't count us, right? And then it's like, oh.
Listen, because if we did, like, if we counted us.
Yes.
And I don't know what your audiences get paid, but let's just put a simple number. Let's just say you make $250 an hour as an entrepreneur or business owner in sales, right? You sell whatever you sell, $250. The $20 of administrative work that you are doing, let's say you take 3 hours to make some phone calls for travel arrangements, make some sales calls. I don't know. Let's say 3 hours. You could have paid somebody 60, but instead you lost 750. 60, 750.
You do the math, right? It's that simple.
And even that, this 60 could have sent out an invoice that would have brought in some money.
Right. And both of y'all could have got paid. All right. So I could totally talk to you all day, but we have to both get back to work. So as we're wrapping up, any final thoughts or tips that you would want to share with the audience?
Final thoughts or tips, just literally not to be afraid of sales. If you have clarity, confidence, if you can get clarity and confidence together, you should not be afraid of your sales. You're only afraid of sales when you're not clear on what you're offering, who you're serving, how much you should charge. That's when sales becomes scary, because then you don't know, you can't pitch appropriately.
No, you cannot.
Know what the value is that you're offering. You don't even know how you're going to help them or save them. So get clarity so that you can get confidence, so you can close more sales, so you can get more clients and get more coins.
Yes, and yes. Oh my goodness. So tell us about your resource that you're sharing with us today, Dr. LaNée.
Hopefully, it is something good. I'll tell you what I'm promoting right now.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Let me tell you that whatever the resource is that I'm sharing with you guys is good. I don't actually know what it is, but I know it's good because I put it out.
It's amazing.
But what I am doing right now is this group coaching program that I'm pushing right now. Called the Diamond Collective, where I'm teaching entrepreneurs how to get clarity, confidence, clients, and coins. It's a 12-month coaching program. I know that that's probably not the thing that I have shared with you guys because I don't even know what it is, but anything that I do, it's always going to be around strategy. It's always going to be around helping the community. It's always going to be about helping women and or men to get to six. And when I say six, I'm not talking about 100. I'm talking about 500,000 plus.
Yes.
Because I want us to be able to not just have business as solopreneurs, but hire other people. We make a lot of money as women, but we're not employing people. So my goal and job is to help you get to multiple 6 figures and 7 figures. And I do that through clarity, confidence, clients, and coins. So whether it's the group coaching or the actual resource that I'm sharing with you, that's my goal. Focusing on strategy, focusing on sales.
And we'll make sure all of those links are in the show notes with actual description. So how can people connect with you, Dr. LaNée, and learn more about the Diamond Method, the collective, all the good things that you're up to?
Yes, definitely. Go to my website is one great place to go. www.LaNée, LANEE, Javet, JAVET.com, or on social media. My handle is the same everywhere. I am Dr. LaNée Javet.
Love it. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. This has been an amazing conversation. This has been one of my best podcasts, one of my best interviews. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for saying yes.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you all again soon. Take care.